Hi, welcome. This is Marty Murphy. And I wanted to talk about this topic of somebody saying this to you, like, well, you attracted that. And I'm big into law of attraction. I absolutely believe that thoughts are things and we create our life, and what's showing up in our life is a product of the thoughts that we have. But have you ever found yourself in a situation where what's showing up for you, it's not really the most ideal thing? And some Einstein says to you, well, you maybe should look into why you attracted that. I know that could set me reeling, and it did for the longest time until I really understood what it means to attract into our life. And a key piece of that is we attract by default. Because when we go, oh God, I attracted that. Have you ever beaten yourself up for like, God, yeah, I attracted that? Does it ever make you feel better to tell yourself that you attracted it, especially when there's the judgment around it? So the key is we can attract by default. And if you're attracting something into your life that's not ideal for you, the first layer, and I seem to be really on this right now, is to look at the judgmental piece, the piece that's judging yourself for that. I guarantee you, with myself and with my clients, when I hear that uttered, it's like, well, I attracted that. There tends to always be a judgment behind it. Some place where we have yet another arena where we can beat ourselves up by it. So literally, I've had that happen where it's like, well, you should check into why you attracted that in your life. Fortunately, I haven't had it happen in a long time, but it was like, what? It would just send me reeling because I realized that I felt bad enough already. And I was misunderstanding the way that principle, law of attraction, was working. So when it came into my sphere of influence, that, oh, I actually attract by default. And what does that mean to attract by default? It's like when you resist something, you're like, well, I don't want that in my life. Oh, I can't have that happen. Anytime resistance comes up, it's a clear indication that there's not a flow in place, that something's blocking it. But why do we have resistance? We have resistance because of limiting beliefs that we downloaded early in life that created a template for our life that gets in our way. And when we really begin to understand that and really accept that about ourselves, it takes the judgment out of it. So then you can start looking at this, well, I did attract that, but I see that I attracted it by default. I wasn't seeing it in the right way. And the reason I wasn't seeing it in the right way is because this block is in the way. And like I've said, the more I do this work, the more I see this is such a critical piece in getting forward progress, is to really note the self-judgment. And even in statements like that, when you find yourself saying, oh, I attracted it, note the judgment that's behind it. And even if it doesn't feel authentic right now, just shift it when you notice it and say, well, I attracted by default. And you don't have to be all in with that yet, but then you can go tap through it. Even though I attracted by default, this wasn't what I wanted. So of course I attracted it. The universe doesn't know the difference. But I'd really like to let myself off the hook. I choose to honor myself right now. Even though I attracted by default, consciously, I really didn't want this experience. But some part of me didn't know better. I choose to accept this part of me. Even though I did attract something into my life that's not ideal for me, that I really don't want. I attracted by default. Because when I say I don't want this, I actually attract it to me. I deeply and profoundly accept myself now. Sometimes I do attract things that aren't ideal for me, that I don't really want. But what if instead of judging myself, I can notice I attracted by default? I judge myself enough. I beat myself up enough in subtle ways I don't always see. So I want to start noticing where I do this, not to judge myself more, but to attend to it and shift it. Sometimes I do attract unwanted things, but I'm attracting by default. And as I learn to clear up my limiting beliefs, this can really shift for me. And I can begin to attract the things I desire, the things that inspire me. I attract by default sometimes. So what? I can learn from it and let myself off the hook. And by letting myself off the hook, it clears my path to moving forward. Take a breath. So when you notice there's things in your life that you're like, this isn't really what I wanted, but somehow it's here. The first layer is to notice the judgment about if you find yourself saying, I attracted this into my life. Notice how you feel. Does it make you feel better to tell yourself that? Or does it feel a little better to go, wow, I attracted this by default. I just didn't know better. I did the best I could. So this is information for me that I can utilize to help me start attracting really creatively in a way that I'm conscious to. Because we spend so much time beating ourselves up, and anytime you can catch that in yourself, it truly is the roadway to freedom. So next time you hear yourself, or if you hear someone else saying, well, I attracted this in my life, and you attracted that into your life, and you feel like, oh my God, I'd love to hit them. Don't hit them. But just note that there's resistance there. And just note that it comes by naturally. You have a template in place that you downloaded early in life through all that childhood programming that has you attracting these things in your life. But the beauty is you can effectively change it. And when you start to notice those things that you don't want in your life, it really can be your roadmap to freedom and go, I really want to track this differently. And I want to find the more positive way with inspiration to bring what I want in life. And the quickest way in my mind to get through that resistance is to tap on the judgment that you have about yourself and the actual thing that's been attracted into your life that you really didn't want. And even though I didn't want this, at least I don't consciously think I did, but somehow I attracted it. I want to attract differently. And really think about it that way. It can really change the game for you. So I hope this was helpful. Take good care, and I'll see you next time.